Patch 1.06 for ARA History Untold has been released, and a lot of people assumed that this would be a small patch before patch 1.1 is coming out, and now it's turning into something much bigger because one of the big changes in the patch notes was that they have removed the cap on all the quality of life buffs. And a lot of people, of course, talked about this and assumed, wait a minute, does that now mean I can go beyond 100? I can go beyond 100% and push even further? That's insane. Well, the TLDR is no, you can't. That wasn't removed. That's not the cap they are talking about. And that you maybe don't know about this means that you never had to deal with it, which makes sense. If you are managing your city in a normal way, you probably never have to deal with this cap, and this change might be insignificant for you, but it is significant for others who are pushing their city into a certain direction, because there was a cap on the amenities on how much they could boost a certain effect multiple times. So let's just take an example here to explain this easily. City happiness, right? You are not at the 100%. You are at, let's say, 65%. You're putting in the first amenity, which is the feast, which is increasing the city happiness by 10. Then you are putting in the jewelry, which is again increasing it by 15. You are still not at 100. And now, in the background, there is a cap on how often you can put in an amenity which is increasing the happiness. So let's say the cap was 100. Again, those numbers are made up. I do not know what the exact numbers were, but I knew it existed. Well, let's say the cap was 100. So the moment you put an amenity in, which would give you 125 happiness on the quality of life buff, that wouldn't count, right? So they removed the cap on how often you can put in an amenity which gives you happiness. Again, I cannot tell you what the previous cap was because I have never encountered it. I always build my cities in a way that I'm using a lot of different things, and I never needed it. But it seems like, especially for bigger cities, that also had to do with the problem that bigger cities lost a lot of quality of life, not because you didn't have enough amenities, but because you sometimes reached the cap on how often you could buff something, right? And they removed the same thing for the city growth. Now that, well, they didn't remove the cap. They increased it from 100 to 1,000, which is also nice. And this is the last thing I would say on this, and then we are wrapping up this video. But this really shows me that they're not happy with how quality of life is working right now. And that's a good thing. I think quality of life, as I have said in my 200-hour thought video, not review, quality of life is definitely one of the biggest problems with the game. Like, they haven't fully figured out yet how they can utilize it without being too much of a major roadblock, and is hampering a lot of the playstyles, a lot of the growth, and actually becomes a much bigger problem, and you cannot really do anything about it in the late game because, well, one of the issues was the amenity cap you had, right? Now that that is removed, you might actually be able to see that in much bigger cities. So we will see how that plays out, but it definitely shows that the developers are aware of the quality of life issue. With that said, please don't forget that this only applies for new save games. Patches do not apply on older saves. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please leave a like. Also, if you're new to the channel, you might want to subscribe for more ARA History Untold videos. We have already a bunch here on the channel. And very soon, we will go on an adventure with Planet Coaster 2. So prepare for that. If you want to see videos on that, don't forget to subscribe. With that said, thanks so much for watching. I see you next time. Stay safe. Bye-bye.